Today on Let It Rip Weekend, shoot first, show your insurance card later. A new policy backed by the NRA is making waves. You can buy the insurance to protect yourself if you accidentally shoot someone. It'll also pay your attorney's fees, but others say it's insurance for murder, as it encourages gun owners to shoot first and ask questions later.
But that just makes it easier to get away with murder.
Gun insurance, protection for victims, or a license to kill. Let It Rip Weekend starts now. All right, thanks for checking in with us this morning on Let It Rip. The topic, Carry Guard Insurance. It's a policy backed by the National Rifle Association, and it's creating some controversy.
No doubt about that. It's drawing scrutiny from gun control advocates. The program covers gun owners in cases where they accidentally shoot someone. That insurance policy will cover the cost of civil if they get sued or the criminal defense up to certain limits. Critics say the program basically gives gun owners a license to kill. Gun owners say it's to protect themselves from legal recourse.
So let's get into it. Time to let it rip.
All right, let's introduce the panel right now. First, attorney Terry Johnson, currently the regional director of the Firearms Legal Protection Group, which helps gun owners in cases of self-defense, and he likes this insurance policy. Next to him, Rick Ector. He's the owner of Rick's Firearm Academy in Detroit, a certified NRA appointed as instructor. He's affiliated with a number of gun organizations, and he too likes this policy. Now, on the other side, Reverend David Bullock, pastor of the Greater St. Matthew Baptist Church in Highland Park, founder of the Change Agent Consortium. That's a national coalition of faith, labor, civic rights organizations. He says what the NRA is doing is a license to murder. And last but not least, we have the Reverend Charles Williams. He's pastor of King Solomon Missionary Baptist Church, also president of the Michigan chapter of the National Action Network. You just heard a moment ago a little clip there from Trayvon Martin's mother. Well, Reverend Williams spoke to Trayvon Martin's mother, and he's got some insight about this insurance policy. Let me start, though, with you, if I may, Terry Johnson. The NRA has this policy. Basically, it insures you if you shoot someone accidentally. Why do we even need a policy like this?
Terry, that's a great question. You know, companies like mine, Firearms Legal Protection, what we do is we protect people from the high burden of legal cost. If, in fact, they have to use it for self-defense. Let's make sure we understand that key word. It's self-defense. This is not a license to go out and shoot someone, okay? What it is, because here's the thing. You protect yourself, guess what? You're going to have high attorney's costs. You're going to have civil costs if you're going to be sued. There are going to be other things, loss of work, bail bond, etc. You need a company like Firearms Legal Protection to do that. Here's the thing that people are missing in all of this. This is not a license to go out and shoot. Here's the bigger part. You have a right to an attorney in this country. It's a Sixth Amendment right.
For free?
For free.
So you don't need the insurance?
Well, no, because guess what? You're going to end up spending a ton of money.
All right, let me get Rick Ector in over here. The critics will say, though, that this is basically a license to murder. It gives you some protection, some benefit. How do you respond to that?
Well, I would say that those critics are misguided. We have a right to defend ourselves that's clearly established in the law. Merely what this program does is that it enables people to be able to deal with some of the ramifications or the consequences of defending yourself. We're talking about a person that's just minding their own business, living their life, and someone jumping out from behind the bushes and robbing and attempting to shoot them and carjack them, to allow them to have the opportunity to afford the services of a great attorney like my esteemed buddy over here, to come and represent them and to protect their interests. And you know what? If you shoot someone, a bad guy, a criminal, is not above actually trying to sue you and trying to take your possessions, even though he was merely trying to take your life a few moments ago.
Let's get Reverend Bullock.
Well, look, I think anytime you have an attorney talking about insurance so that he can have his attorney fees paid, and anytime you have a guy that makes money training people how to use firearms, talking about this is a good thing, so they can pay him. This is all about this is all about money for these guys. Look, why haven't we learned from Trayvon Martin? George Zimmerman took it upon himself to take the life of an African American teenager, right? The cops told him to stand down. He did it anyway. How many times are we going to be addicted to firearms in this country and experience these situations that are going to be negative for families across the country.
But let me see
right?
if I just...
I think this is just a license to murder. That's exactly what it is.
You know, I find it really funny that...
Let me just see if I just one more time here. It seems to me, though, that the beneficiaries of this insurance policy would actually be the victims. What's wrong with that?
Well, look, this is about firearms. Right? The NRA is going to do whatever it has to do to promote their industry. Okay? The Vegas shooting. I mean, all I'm saying is this. How many times do we have to turn on the news, watch Fox 2, and see an incident where some lunatic has guns or multiple guns and has ammunition and uses those guns and that ammunition to take innocent lives? How many times do we have to license people to use firearms that they don't need to take lives?
What's really interesting is that you actually...
Rick, hold on. Let's get Reverend Williams.
How many times do we have to relive scenarios like what happened in October 1st, 2017, where 58 people were shot dead, 400 some odd people were killed by, or not killed, but were hurt by this crazed gun owner.
But no one would insure that guy.
You can't tell me no one would insure him when he purchased 30 guns.
Right.
They wouldn't insure him.
You can't tell me that when he went and bought 30 guns. They sold him 30 guns.
Would Dylan Roof get insurance? Would Dylan Roof get insurance?
No. If they sold him 30 guns, they would have sold him how many ever insurance policies he wanted.
But it doesn't mean he'll be covered. If you have a house, Reverend, you have arson coverage on your house.
At the end of
you
the
have
day,
fire protection.
You take those funds.
Should you go set your house on fire so you can get...
Hold on, Terry. Hold on.
At the end of the day, you take those funds and you fight for the proliferation of even more guns, so people can purchase insurance from your company, and then you can go and advocate for people to get more guns.
It's not a mass shooting situation, though. What would stop someone from feeling threatened, shooting someone, killing someone, and then cutting a deal with the victim's family so that they don't have to do jail time?
That's not going to happen.
How could it not?
Because you have prosecutors. You have prosecutors. There's a criminal side and a civil side. And on the criminal side, it's going to be up to the prosecutor, whether it's Jessica Cooper, Eric Smith, or Kim Worthy. That office is going to decide what happens on the criminal side, whether that person does jail time or not.
But there's often a wrongful death suit that could follow.
That's on the civil side. Right. That's correct. But again,
and there's civil money here.
Right. If you're lawfully protecting yourself, and these two gentlemen don't want to talk about the people like Marcus Weldon, who went out as Charlie, he's better known as a Santa Claus shooter.
Don't do that.
Who wants to come out and
I helped Marcus Weldon. Okay?
Yes, and he was
when
in a
Marcus Weldon was called the Santa Claus shooter, I actually defended Marcus.
Reverend Ball.
So he needs to be careful about that.
Hold on, Rick.
Let's say this. Let's talk about the class issue here too, in terms of people who will be able to afford insurance, you know what I'm saying, versus people who will not be able to afford insurance. I mean, I think it's always interesting how you have options for people who have money, right? So they can insure themselves if they use their firearm, right? You know, and then they have insurance. But what about all of the folks, say, maybe in the city of Detroit, right, who are licensed carriers, who don't have the money for insurance? Say somebody like a Marcus Weldon, who is just a guy, you know, he's a model, you know, he's working at the casino. He can't afford a insurance policy, so he doesn't get a chance to benefit from something like this.
His family came off and paid $50,000 for representation. The average person who finds themselves faced with a serious threat from a violent criminal, and we have those people walking our streets, they don't have that. To get a plan where you can actually pay something inexpensively, such as $10 a month, to be covered just in case someone hurts you for no other reason than they like with what you have. And yeah, I think it's really hypocritical that you would come on this show and all of a sudden you're against self-defense when you supported Marcus Weldon, a great guy who actually
want another black guy to be labeled the Santa Claus shooter because
and you actually supported it. And then you come on this show today and now hypocritically you're going to act like that you have a black
a firearm.
Here's the thing.
You're going to go down. When you're white and the firearm,
hold on one moment.
You should know that better than anybody. Right?
Let's bring people in here and talk about the price. If we had the information of what this policy actually will cost the average gun owner. So according to the NRA, $13.95 a month. You can sign up. It'll get you $250,000 in civil protection, $50,000 in a criminal defense, or you can up it and be a Gold Plus policy member. That's for $49.95 a month, and that provides $1.5 million in that civil protection and $250,000 in a criminal defense.
Muriel, we're at Firearms, and again, I'm not trying to make this into a promotion of my company, but $9.95 a month gets you uncapped attorney's fees. Why not?
But wait a minute, let me just ask you this,
why
Terry.
not do that?
Terry, realistically, if this is so cut and dry, if this was such an accident, there would be no criminal prosecution.
Come on, Charlie. You've been in the courts before, and let me give you an example of an accident. What about the gentleman, I believe was in Detroit, that ended up trying to help a young lady who was being mauled by a dog, right? He shot the dog and then shot the woman. Right. What do you think's going to happen to him?
Has she been charged yet?
Yet.
Well.
Right. But here's the thing. Shouldn't he be, if he's trying to do something good and defend someone, what do you think's going to happen at that point?
And I say to that, what about the young lady that walked up on the porch and knocked on the door and said, "Can I get some help?" and got blew away, and now the man's sitting in jail.
We wouldn't cover him.
How do you always say you would not cover
hold that thought, hold that thought.
Would have obviously gotten insurance.
Use the
insurance.
hashtag Let It Rip Weekend. We're going to take a quick break. You may very well see your comment on the air at the end of the show. There's a lot more on this topic.
That's right. When we come back, we will continue this debate on the NRA-backed insurance policy for gun owners. Stay close.